Alrighty, welcome back. We are here again. We got Hannah Coffin. We're going to be doing a strength workout. We are going to do a progression workout based off of the session we did with Ian Carter not too long ago. But we're going to progress things. Today, instead of doing a double leg squat, we're going to do a single leg squat. Instead of doing a double leg bridge, we're going to do a single leg bridge. And we're going to do a stacked series, which means, again, we're going to take two exercises back to back, knock them out, and once we are done with them, we're done with them for the rest of the workout. Then we'll go through another series of two, knock those out, and then our final series of two, knock those out, and then we'll finish up with some hip exercises. It's a similar workout, but it's much more progressed, much harder. So Hannah, we're going to have you start facing the wall. On your single leg squat, you're going to take one foot and very gently have the toe touching the ground. We're also going to add some weights to this. We're going to go with 8 pounds either at your side or at your shoulders, right? Similar to what we did with Coach Michael Crouch. So very, very gently, you should be able to pick up that leg, that back heel. You should be able to pick that up, no problem. All right, so the 2-2 tempo, we're going to do 10 reps on one side, 10 reps on the other side. Go ahead. Smooth and slow. Get as deep as you can get. Throw that butt behind you a little bit more. Good. Throw that butt behind you a little bit more. Get a little deeper for me. Good. That toe is there for balance. You'll have a little bit of pressure, but think about 5% of your pressure on that foot. All right, so the toe will stay on the ground. Good. And we'll keep it on the ground the entire time. You can throw that butt behind you. Think about sitting back a little bit more. There we go. That will allow those hips to open up and drop down even further. Good. We're going to do 10 repetitions. Smooth and slow. Hannah, what number are we on?
That was 9.
9. Okay, one more. And switch, rather. Switch. All right, same concept. All right. Very gentle with that toe on the ground. Chin down as you're going down so you're not straining through your neck. It's very natural to want to keep facing up, but you're not actually facing up anymore. You're starting to walk around looking with your head straight up in the air. That'd be like walking around like this all the time. That doesn't make much sense. It's not very comfortable. Face forward and chest forward. Smooth and slow, not letting gravity win. Control on the way down, control on the way up. We want those 10 reps to last about 40 to 45 seconds. We're going to do 5 rounds of this. So that's 50 reps each. Let me see those weights. We're going to go into a push-up position, a 4-2-1 push-up. Very controlled. Hannah, if you like to keep your hands narrow, I want them wider than you want them to be. All right, that'll give you more stability, more base, feet wider than you want them to be. All right, down in 2, 3, holding, up fast. Good. Down slower, hips up a little bit higher for me. Hold, and up. I'm going to have you go to your knees a little bit. There we go. Uncross, toes on the ground. There we go. Down slower. You don't need to go as low as you think. There's 3. So Hannah, come down about 80%. Hips up a little higher for me. Good. Keep the stomach away from the ground. There we go. That lock-in position. All right? We don't want the hips to go down and the chest to go down. We want the hips, the stomach, and the chest to stay in line. All right? You're going down for 4 seconds. You're holding for 2. You're coming up for 1. Each one of these push-ups is going to last around 7 seconds. You get 10 of these done, that's 1 minute and 10 seconds of push-ups. Hannah, what number are we on?
This is 5.
All right. Including the first 2 on your feet?
No.
Yeah, so there we go. There we go. There's 9. Let's get 1 more in. Done. Single leg squat. We're going to go right back into it. Very little recovery time. You want to have a quick switch. Choose the leg, up tall, down for 2, up for 2. Go slower on the way up. You're good on the way down. 2, up, 3. Chin down, up, 4. Chin down, up, 5. Down, 2, up. 6, down, smooth, up, 7, down, 2, perfect, 8, 2 more, guys. We're looking for this to last again. 40 seconds, 45 seconds, a little bit of time. And instead of Hannah turning around, she's just going to switch legs. Up tall and back into it. Good. Sitting into the heel, not just the toe. All right. You want to be able, not that you're going to, but you want to be able to pick up that back foot. Smooth and controlled. Good back position. Chest is looking good. Number, Hannah, where are we at?
1 more.
All right, we're going to go right back into that push-up. On your knees to start, keeping the stomach away from the ground. All right, the chest is going down, the hips are going down, but don't let yourself break to the ground. Down for 4, 3, 2, and hold. 2, that's 1. Down, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, there's 2. Down slower, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, that's 3. Down, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, there's 4. Down. You're going to go up to 10. Hold, 2, there's 5. Down. Keep that hips up a little taller. Don't go as deep as you think. Hold, 2, that's 6. Hold that position. Tuck the hips. Tuck them. Other way. There we go. Keeping the back straight. All right? We don't want that pressure to sit into your back. And if you get too low because of strength, you're not going to come up as a unit. All right? We want to keep connection between the stomach, the hips, and the back. We don't want the shoulders to rise, then the hips, and then the stomach. We want them to rise at the same time. Doesn't matter how low you get. If you can't keep connection, you don't want to come up like a wet piece of spaghetti. Come on now. All right, right back into that squat. Single leg squat. Weight to the shoulders this time for me. Weight to the shoulders, down for 2, up for 2. And 2, time. Down, 2, up, controlled. Good. Sitting back into that heel. Let yourself get a little deeper than you think you can go. Because I promise you, you've got a little bit more in you than you might recognize. Let's try to keep those weights in front of the shoulders versus on top of the shoulders. That's going to activate the stomach in a little bit different way. And if that becomes too much for your shoulders to handle, just let those weights hang at the side. All right. So I didn't like the way Hannah's position in the push-up was in that round, that second round. So we're going to regress and go into a plank up-down. For you at home, if you can manage that 4-2-1 push-up without losing connection in the hips, right, keeping everything straight, fantastic, stay there. But I think right now for Hannah, for the success of this workout, we're going to go into a plank up-down position. We're going to focus on not twisting at the hips. We're going to focus on keeping connection through the core. Go down a little bit slower for me. Number, where are we at?
This is 4.
Good. Can you get any deeper? Using that range of motion we know you have, the flexibility we know you have. You're certainly strong enough. You can run up hills like a gazelle. So let's use it. Let's trust the strength that's there. There we go. Good. A little less pressure on that left toe. A little bit more strength through that right leg. Good. All right. Plank up, down. Again, at home, if you can do this as the 4-2-1 push-up, fantastic. But we're going to go to a plank up, down. So starting in your plank position in your forearms, go right into that plank position, go up to the push-up, hold, make sure you're rigid, then back down. Feet a little bit wider, because I don't want you to twist when you're going up. There we go. Keeping that connection. I want you to squeeze those glutes and flex the quads. Good. We're going to do 10 reps of this. Just a little pause on each position to manage and show demonstration of control. Good. Try to replace the elbow with the hand versus replacing the forearm with the hand. So I want that hand to come back even further. Good. All right, so that hand is ending up here. I want that hand back here. There we go. There's your push-up position. All right, we wouldn't do a push-up up here. We'd do it right where that elbow was. Good. Lower those hips to the ground a little bit more for me. Squeezing those cheeks. Locking that leg. Number, where are we at?
This is 9.
All right. Good. Single leg squat. We're going to go right back into it. Weights at the shoulders. All right. And we can go back into it this round because we're doing 3 exercises in the grouping. So it's been a long enough time for recovery to have taken place. Right? If we were doing squat, push-up, squat, push-up, squat, push-up, after 3 rounds we would have taken a little bit more rest like we did with Ian in the previous video. But because we're doing single leg, push-up or plank up-down, there's about 1.5 minutes between the first time you attack one leg until the next time you attack that same leg. Little less pressure through this foot. You can always tell when there's a little bit more pressure than it should be because the heel starts coming down. That means more pressure is coming through the forefoot. But if you're just on the tip of the toe, you should be able to pick it up whenever asked. Number, where are we at?
This is 9, I think.
All right. In the grand scheme of things, 49 or 50 isn't going to matter. So let's switch sides. And again, what I love about these sessions, it demonstrates control. You still work on strength. We can change the intent of the exercises by making them more explosive down the line. But what I really love most is once you get done with these 2, they are done. You just knock them out and they are done. Great adjustment by hand adjust now from the shoulders down to the side to manage the weight a little bit more fluidly. It's a little bit of a regression, but it's an appropriate regression to maintain technique and power and form. Number.
That was 9.
All right. And plank up, down. Remember to replace those elbows with the palms. Good. Feet are a little bit wider than you want them to be. Good. Now this time, start with your left hand instead of your right. We have a tendency to always lead. When we walk up a flight of stairs, we almost always lead with the same leg. When we're doing this type of movement, we almost always lead with the same arm. Right? It's where our bodies go naturally. But if we want to make sure that we are as strong on one side versus the other, make sure you're switching every round what your lead hand is. You might be surprised to find where some imbalances might be. Make sure that elbow is being replaced, not the forearm. Good. We want to end up in that push-up position. Where are we at?
Last one.
All right. And we're going to go one more round of the single leg squat, and plank up, down. All right. Very gentle on that toe. After this, I won't be a slave driver anymore. I'll let her get some water. Chin down on the way down. Good. No straining at the neck. We want to relax through the traps so she can breathe properly, so you can breathe properly. Good. Smooth and slow. Control. It's amazing what looks to be the same exercises just by changing subtly, maybe from 2 legs to 1 leg, maybe the position of your push-up, maybe the tempo of your push-up, or where you hold the weight. All of a sudden, it becomes a vastly different exercise. Number, where are we at?
That was the last one.
All right. Switching out. We got 2 more, then we're going to take a little bit of a rest. Not too long, about 30 to 45 seconds or so. All right. Smooth and controlled. But again, if you didn't do this stack series from the workout with Coach Ian, and this is the first time you're doing this, that's the wrong choice. You want to start with the regress version, and then we want to progress. All right. I can trust Hannah and Ian and Michael and John and a few other athletes to come in and do the work, because I've seen them work out over the past few years, and I understand what their movement patterns are. Smooth and controlled. Good. Last round of the plank, up, down.
I'm going to start left again because I did
Yep.
most of the right.
Yeah, yeah. All right, squeeze the cheeks. Good. Squeeze those cheeks, lock the legs. Make that the purpose of this exercise. Yes, you're going to go up and down with your arms, but make the purpose locking everything in the middle so you don't twist. So it's not just an upper body exercise. Good. And notice how she's keeping her upper back away from the ground. She's pushing away from the ground, engaging all of her upper body, not just collapsing herself. Number, where are we at?
I think that was 7.
All right, there's 8. We got 2 more. All right. Great, last round. All right, a little bit of rest, a little bit of water. All right, so we just got done single leg squat, and a variation of a push-up. We intended to go with the 4-2-1, became a little bit too challenging, a little bit too heavy to move, so we go into the plank up-down, which still connects the core and still gets the upper body just in a different way. All right, it's just a little bit of a regression. So now we're going to do the same concept. We go single leg bridge, and then we're going to go into a reverse fly. So single leg, and now we're going to cover the back of the body. All right? So then you're going to lie down. One leg is going to be bent and in the air. The other foot is going to be on the roller. All right? The other leg is bent and in the air. Palms are facing the ceiling. Always, always, always. Palms facing the ceiling. We're going to make sure that this roller, now if you don't have a roller, you can absolutely use a can of soup. That's wonderful. Who doesn't have a can of soup at home? Just try not to use a tuna can because that's a little bit too narrow. But green beans, corn, whatever, it's normal. Can of soup is going to be just fine. We're not going to roll. We're just going to go up and down. Right? It's an unstable surface. So we're just going to go up and down with this. We can go 10 on one leg, 10 on the other leg, and then a reverse fly with 8-pound dumbbells. All right, here we go. Smooth and slow. Don't let it roll away from you. Good. You can get those hips up even higher. And as you feel that roller get away from you, you can always stop, reset, and pull it underneath you a little bit. But it shouldn't roll too much. All right? Palms are facing the ceiling. Really kind of exaggerating that position. Good. Number, where are we at?
This is 7.
Good. Good. Again, we're looking for this to take, as soon as you're done, go ahead and switch legs. We're looking for this to take around 40 to 45 seconds. So if you crush this and get it done in 20, you're missing the purpose. I love when I stand a little too close and I feel like I'm decapitating myself on video. All right? It's good. Smooth and controlled. And notice how Hannah's foot is just in front of her knee. Actually, she looks really small right here because of the angle. But yeah, the heel is just in front of the knee. You could always change this by bringing that heel in a little bit closer. Good demonstration of control on the way down as much on the way up. All right, bent over row. I'm going to have you face the wall. That way we can see you coming around this side. All right, we want to see that position. Chest down, butt high, flat back. All right, knees are slightly bent. Smooth and slow. Try not to bounce on top. See that a lot where there's this.
Powerlifting.
Right? Doesn't do anything. Don't do that. Chest a little bit lower for me. There we go. Smooth and slow. Try not to lift with the neck. Try to lift through the shoulder blades. Good. Keeping that weight a little bit longer away from the body. Now, if the weight becomes too much, we do have some bands, right? And we'll probably regress this exercise because these 8-pound weights are going to get a little heavy, right? Single leg bridge, you're going to go right into it. And I'll show you how to use these bands in the correct fashion so they're not flying all over the place. I want to have you this time, start with the foot a little closer to your body. Right.
This one.
The
roller
roller a little closer to your body. There we go.
Cool.
All right.
I could get up higher.
There we go. Palms facing the ceiling for me. Knuckles are on the ground. And again, we're doing this because we've been sitting at home all day long. We've got to stretch that chest out a little bit. All right, we want to engage the upper body. Keeping the knuckles on the ground, palms are facing the ceiling, promoting good posture. Smooth and controlled. Do you feel this a little bit more of a challenge because your foot's closer to you?
A little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit more. We're challenging that stability, and we're going to be able to raise those hips a little bit higher. Good. Smooth and controlled, and then we'll switch legs. Once you get to 10, we're going to switch it out. Again, we're going to do the same thing as we did with the single leg squat and the push-up. We're going to go 10 on each, and then 10 for the upper body exercise. 50 repetitions per. And if we need to regress, we can regress along the way. Good. Now that heel is still slightly in front of the knee, but Hannah feels it almost directly, as it's almost directly underneath her, just because the angle is so much sharper. If you have very tight quads, that might not feel very comfortable for you. You might need that roller a little bit further away, or you might need 2 feet moving the weight on the roller. We're going to go right back to that reverse fly, round number 2. Just a little bit lower than you want it to be, but a little bit higher. Weights in front of the body. Good. Smooth and controlled. Good. Now try not to hit me. There we go. So now it's coming across that line of the chest. Smooth and controlled. Can you get the chest a little bit lower for me? There we go. So that way we're fighting gravity a little bit more with the weight. Might feel a little bit of a pulling through the hamstring. Number, where are we at? All right. So I'm going to regress that into the next round.
These aren't getting any higher.
They're not getting any higher, and the weight's starting to go a little bit too fast. So we're going to make an adjustment. And so far, yeah, keep it nice and tight. So far, the things that we have done have been very, very simple, right? We've used the body weight for a squat. We've used 8-pound dumbbells. That's all. Smooth and controlled. Good. Now, if this has been too easy for you, we could always take that foot and extend it out and keep it extended out the entire time. All right? It just changes the weight of the levers. Makes them a little bit longer. Number, where are we at?
7.
All right. Good. And switch it out. I am wearing, if you hadn't noticed, the hot dog hat that John gave me a while back. I'm going to keep this toe a little bit lower. Go ahead. That way when you come up, the quads are at the same angle. Who doesn't love a good hot dog trucker hat? Good. Controlled motion, getting full extension of those hips all the way up. Good. And once we're done, I'm going to have you kneel down facing the wall. Now, if you guys have these at home, these are wonderful. Many people do, and if you don't, I would reduce the weight of the dumbbells or use Kansas soup. But since we don't really have weight that's appropriate for Hannah, 5-pound dumbbells, we're going to use the bands. And what we're going to have her do is put her hand through each one of these. All right? Put your hands through. Yep, there we go. And they're going to rest right on her arms. Now, she's going to grab the weight in front. Good. Now, you're going to hold it in this position. Now, I'm going to have you turn so you can face the camera so they can see what's going on, what I'm going to have you do. So, what's often done is when you come back to 0, you let the band dip down. That's releasing tension on the band. So you want to find this position where there's always tension, and that's going to be your 0 position. So Hannah, I'm going to have you hold a little bit tighter, a little bit closer. No, a little closer with the hands. A little bit in, a little bit more. So that way your hands are about the same width as your shoulders. All right? So now this is your new 0, and you never see this happen. All right? If you need less tension, you'll just start a little bit wider than you have it right now. All right? So same position. You can actually get into a lunge position so you can protect one knee. So it's not all the same, but one knee is on the ground. Right? Arms out in front, and we're going to do the retraction. Good. Now that's too much. Oh, no. Never. All right, that's too much weight. You'll know pretty quickly. All right, so it's the same range of motion. We want that line to come across the chest every time, but I also want you to lower those shoulders. There we go. We're not trying to do this weight by shrugging. We're trying to move the weight by pinching the shoulder blades. Can keep the line up a little bit higher, just a little bit, but at the same time, you don't want to shrug. There we go. Good. Number, where are we at?
It was 8.
All right, 2 more for me. Good. Now we're going to go back into this single leg bridge. All right.
This is the 4th one, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
4th round. Single leg bridge. So we don't have a very heavy band here. I'm going to go right into it. We don't have a very, very heavy band here. It's pretty thin, right? It's not the most resistant, but the closer your hands are, the tighter the band gets, right? We have others, but I didn't feel that those were going to be too appropriate. But again, if you don't have bands at home, and all you have is 8-pound dumbbells, well, maybe you go with a heavy container of olive oil that might be 3 or 4 or 5 pounds. Something that you can hold in your hand. And if you only have one, you can just do one arm at a time with that dumbbell or with that olive oil. Alrighty. And once you're done there, you're going to go right into the band retraction. If you're kneeling down for this, make sure you just alternate which leg you're kneeling down with. Hands can be a little bit wider to start just because I want you to be able to get all the way to the sternum. Right? And I want these wrists to stay locked. We don't want this position. We want those wrists to stay locked the entire time. Go ahead. Good. Keeping the shoulders away from those ears. We're not doing this with your neck. We're doing this with the shoulder blades. Be careful that those bands don't come back all the way. The tendency is to let the band do the work and snap back. We want to use the weight on the way back, so we have to slow things down. Watch those wrists, and don't come back as much. Every single time you come back and that band retracts all the way, and there's slack, you're losing connection with the weight. You wouldn't lose 8 pounds when it's here and have it feel like 5 pounds, right? You would always use that weight. So if you come back too much and there's a little dip in the band, you're losing every pound, every ounce of that weight. Last round. Palms facing the ceiling. 10 reps on one side, 10 on the other. Smooth and controlled. Try to get that full motion up there. And make sure that when you come down, that lower back touches the ground every single time. You're getting that full rotation of the spine. Good. 10 reps on one, 10 reps on the other. All right. Don't mind my pacing. I just like to go back and forth while people work. Smooth and controlled. 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. So we got the single leg squat. push-up. We've got the single leg bridge, and retraction in some way, whether it was with the band or whether it was with the dumbbells. And then the next series, we're going to focus a little bit more of core and hip. Alrighty, a little bit of water, a little bit of rest. Take a minute. Oh, no, never mind. I'm sorry. We have the band retraction. Alright, so why, as Hannah's doing this, why do we want the hands to go through? Well, plain and simple, if you're doing this at home and you have somebody that you are working out with, now these are hanging down, and you go back, this is going to whack your friend or family member in the face. Now, maybe you don't like your wife or your husband that much, and you want to let these hang down, and you can just beat them with the handle. That's probably not the nice thing to do. So we want to have those hands inside the band, so you have complete control of the entire device. I think I just gave my wife a few ideas. Good. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Good. All right, now a little bit of a rest, and then we'll go on to the next series of exercises. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go side plank, Skullcrusher with a ball. And if you don't have a ball, you can use a chair with a cushion on it. You can use a recliner so you have something soft against your neck. But we do have a ball, so we are going to use the stability ball. But first, we're going to go side plank, and then into the Skullcrusher. All right. So in the side plank, we're going to hold a breath. Henry, you're going to face the camera. One leg is over the top. The top leg is over the top of the bottom foot, I should say. And we're going to hold for about 6 long breaths. And I'm going to let Hannah dictate that. All right. Hips are up tall. Good. Smooth and slow. Now, normally, you can't see yourself in this position, but because Hannah is facing the camera, she can actually see. All right. But what she can't see is her rotation. So I'm going to have her turn her top hip a little bit more towards the camera. There we go. Now she's vertical. All right. 6 slow breaths. It's going to be about 35 to 40 seconds on one side, and then 35 to 40 seconds on the other side. But I am going to have Hannah rotate so her head is on the opposite side.
I thought you could write down my question.
No. Go ahead, rotate. 6 long breaths. All right, one foot's over the top. And you are up. There we go. So we want the elbow directly under the shoulder, directly under the other shoulder, right? In a straight line going down. We don't want this knee or the outside of the calf to be touching on the ground, so everything is off the ground, and it's just the feet and the forearm that's holding the body up. 6 long breaths, and whatever you want to do with that top hand is fine. All right, Skullcrusher. So then you're going to have a seat on the ball. You're going to grab these 8-pound dumbbells. I'm going to move back just a little bit. Because if you roll out, you're going to roll against the wall. You've got to give yourself a little bit of space here. The weight's going to be at the shoulders to start. Weight shoulders to start, and then you're going to roll out towards me. So your upper back and your hips are off of the ball. Your head is up against the ball as well. You can walk out a little bit further. Feet a little bit wider so you have a little bit more stability. Weights are straight up above you. And smooth and controlled down and up. Right there. We don't need to go all the way down. We just want the weights to be slightly lower than parallel. That's all. Good. Don't let those elbows go against my hand. All right? Don't push too much against my hand at all. That way the elbow stays directly on top of the shoulder. All right? So keep connection against my finger. All right? See how you're losing that? Keep connection against my finger. Better. Right? So that way the weight is only pivoting off of the elbow, and we're not pivoting from the shoulder. Hips are up tall though. Squeeze those cheeks. A compound motion. So we're getting the hamstrings involved again, the glutes involved again, and we're working on the tricep, something a little bit smaller. Side plank, Skullcrusher. Alrighty. Again, 6 breaths on the side plank. Good. Good position. Controlled breathing. You know, we don't want to have fast. We want this to be smooth and controlled and slow. Hips up a little bit taller for me. You got good rotation. Taking your time. For those of you at home, this is called an isometric exercise, where you're holding the position. We have eccentric and concentric motion, but then we have isometrics, the pausing, the middle. Right? Hips are up taller. Good. And we don't want to over-rotate, so don't overcorrect. Right? We don't want the hips to be over the top. We just want them to be on top. Many people open up their hips backwards. Some people over-rotate and try to exaggerate, but we just want the hip to be on top of the other. Notice how that elbow is starting to get a little bit outside. We can, next time around, we can pay attention a little bit more and bring that elbow underneath the shoulder. All right. Sit back down on the ball. Weights at the shoulders first. Weights at the shoulders first. It gives you a little bit more stable position to roll out. Good. Hips are up. Notice how the lower back is off of the ball as well, and the neck and the head are being supported. The tendency when you're in this position is to let the elbows rotate away from you and towards your stomach, but you want to make sure that those elbows stay directly on top of the shoulder. And it takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of patience, and maybe it might take, for you at home, somebody to point that out, that, oh, your elbow is coming a little bit closer. Good. Hips are up tall. You can move those feet in front of you a little bit more. Good. That'll give you a little bit more stability and base. All right. Squeezing those cheeks. Number? 9. All right. All right, back into the side plank. 3rd round. Guys, we got 3 more of these rounds. 3 more. I'm excited for the final series of exercises of the hips because everybody gets sore from them. They're a challenge. We saw John's hip mobility a few videos ago. We saw Ian, and he started to cramp up a little bit. Hannah's got some good hip mobility. Her hips are strong and can go out to the side, but we're going to present a completely different challenge, something foreign to her. And I'm not sure she's going to like it, but I'm going to have fun. Good. 6 long breaths. And if you guys are wondering about these guitars on the wall, I got this. Go ahead, Hannah. You got to keep working out. Top leg over the top. I got this with my bride out in Ireland. It's handmade in a town 20 miles outside of Galway. It's one of my favorite guitars. We call it Little Irish. And it's interesting because this guitar is an interesting story. The guy that made the guitar, he ordered a bunch of cases. And they brought him 6 or 7, I think maybe at the most 8 of the wrong size cases. And instead of sending them back, he decided that he was going to make his design a little bit smaller, and he fit the guitar to fit the case. So instead of returning the mistake, he made something beautiful out of the mistake. And it's one of my favorite guitars I've ever played. I love it. Good. Weights are above the elbows. Elbows are directly above the shoulders. Hips are tall. You're squeezing the cheeks. Don't let those elbows fall forward, right? Almost think that you're pushing those elbows backwards towards your ears as you're going down with the weight, right? You're not. But that might be a good cue for you to keep those elbows directly above the shoulders. Hips are up tall.
Alright, we can't get this up there.
Done. All right, so.
The right one's shaking.
That's all right. Shaking is okay. So if the weights are too much, what we're going to do is we're going to, instead of separating them, we're going to put the weights together so the dumbbells are actually touching each other. If one arm can't handle the weight, we're going to move it and adjust the weight so the muscles can handle. It's not lack of strength, it's lack of stability. It's the same weight above her head. We didn't make it any lighter, but because we put them together, it became a more manageable exercise. All right. Side plank, side plank.
I don't remember which step this is.
This is number 4. We have one more round after this. You're welcome.
That would have been my guess.
Yeah.
I was going to sell myself short and say 3, but I'm like, it's not what?
So inside of this, guys, you'll notice that this workout's taking a little bit longer. If you did the workout video with Ian, it went by a lot faster, but this is taking probably 30% longer because we're isolating just one leg or one arm at a time, right? So there's so many different ways of challenging you and bringing something new to your at-home workout, especially if you're doing this during the COVID crisis. I heard something that's safer at home, shelter at home, but I like to say we're getting stronger at home.
That was super cheesy.
That was super cheesy. I love you. The peanut gallery in the back there. Hips are up tall, hips are up tall. Good. 6 long breaths and back into that Skullcrusher. So we had them separated. Now we're going to start the series together. Again, we didn't make the weight any lighter. It's still 8 pounds, 8 pounds. It's still 16 pounds above. When you're doing this, when they're closer together, that means the weight can hit your forehead, right? So make sure that you slow things down, right? Your hips are up tall. All right, control that weight on the way down. Good. It's all right to be shaky. Shaky's okay. Try not to let yourself rock at the hips or the knees. Especially if you're on a ball there, right? You want to make sure you're stable and sound. Squeezing those cheeks, locking the hamstrings. Number, where are we at?
6.
All right, we got 4 more. Good positioning, hips are tall. All right, last round of the workouts. Side plank, and then into the Skullcrusher. Alrighty. One of the benefits of being at home is we're showing you things that we actually use, but all one of the disadvantages of filming from a laptop computer is that it's also hooked up to the phone, so when the phone rings, it also rings on the computer. Good, hips are up tall. We're going to pull that elbow underneath you just a little bit more. There we go, just a slight bit. Good, so now you're directly shoulder, shoulder, elbow. Good. And as I said, after we do this Skullcrusher, we're going to do one last exercise for the hips. The heaviest weight we used so far has been 8 pounds, excess of the body weight, right? That's the heaviest we've gone, but I promise you, Hannah's going to be a little bit stiff from this session. And she's had a great workout. She's worked really hard. I know because I hear her breathing, right? Hips are up tall. And if you need to regress your exercises as you're going, that means you started with an appropriate weight. If you got through every single exercise without issue, well, maybe that's your cue, maybe that's your signal that this is too light for you. Maybe we have to find a different way. Maybe even with the weights here in the single leg squat, maybe we need to add a pause in the single leg squat, right, and then come up, or maybe we need to add a bicep curl away from the body where you finish it here instead. Right? There's a lot of ways we can challenge you. Number?
Last one.
All right, done. All right, so Hannah, you're going to get on all fours. Hands are going to be on the pad. Knees are going to be on the purple. Yeah. Hands are on the pad. Knees are on the purple. I'm going to have you back up just slightly, though. Back up just a bit more. I'm going to change this angle so we can see. There we go. So, one foot's going to be out to the side, perpendicular to the body. All right? I'm going to move it up a little bit more. And no, I'm going to keep it off to the side. Right? And now, I'm going to take your ponytail, move it back here. So, we have almost a tripod, right? So I want you to take this hand and move it off to the side, just a little bit, right? Not too much, not too exaggerated. So now we have a tripod. See, we have a tripod: hands, knee, hand, right? So now you're even. Don't bend this elbow. You're gonna take that leg and lift it up into the air. Come on now, don't bend the elbow. There we go. Now hold it there. Hold it there. Hold it. Don't bend. Keep that foot in the air. Hold it there. Hold it there. In 10, 9, 8, 7, a little higher. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2.5, time. Good. Done. So, one of those things, we're going to switch legs, switch positions. One of those things that Hannah did automatically was bend the elbow. It was a compensation, right? I'm going to move this ponytail back so they can see on the camera, right? We have a tripod between the hand, the knee, and the opposite hand, right? The leg is perpendicular to the body. You don't let it go behind you. You've got to keep this in a straight line. So Hannah, actually, what I'm going to have you do is turn and face me so the camera can see.
Making sure the placement's there.
Right?
So
Yeah, right? Yeah.
this one's outside of this
Yep.
one? Okay.
Yep. So the knee's in the middle of the hand, and this hand can be a little bit wider. This can be on the ground. All right, so that leg is perpendicular. Now, when she goes up, what we have to not let it do is come backward, okay? We don't want that position. We want to keep this perpendicular, right? So when you come up, go ahead and try to come up to my hand. Boom. We're holding there, all right? Don't let it come backward. There we go. There we go. Both palms on the ground. Both palms on the ground. Foot a little higher. Good. Perpendicular. Palm, palm, palm. Left palm. A little more weight. Come on now. Toe here. Ah, there we go. All right, here we go. A little bit more. A little bit more. 3, 2, 1, and time. Good. So we held a side plank, right? We're able to hold a side plank, more weight than just our legs, no problem. But yet, when we have one little muscle lifting up the entire leg, it's going to cramp up, it's going to shake, it's going to be a lot weaker than the rest of our body. Just this little motion here, because so much of running is right here. And if we're running and our knees are collapsing, we have to strengthen this. It's not just running in a forward line. We're catching ourselves from falling and collapsing every single time we strike the ground. So having a strong hip, strong glute area is really important. All right, guys, that is the workout. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit.
That was easily the hardest hip exercise I've ever had to do.
Yeah, it's tough. I had a gentleman the other day reach out. He said, I've been doing so much physical therapy on my hips, and I tried the long-legged fire hydrant, and I don't think I've ever felt that pain before.
It ain't moving.
It's the simplest exercise in the world, but it's a great one. Guys, thank you so much for working out with us. Thank you, Hannah, for coming over for a session. We hope you enjoy this. We hope this is a good progression for you, and it's something that you can continue to build on. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.